Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 603, The Isle of Secrets, Homophones, Intermediate. Once upon a time, on a tiny, fog-shrouded isle off the coast of Cornwall, lived an old locksmith named Alistair. His shop was small, and he had an awl for every type of wood and a key for all kinds of locks. One day, a woman came in, her face pale with worry. "I have lost the key to my late grandfather's chest," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He was a strange man, and people said he was an heir to some lost fortune. He left a note that said, "The treasure is in the chest, but to open it you must know what ails me." Alistair looked at her intently. "I'll help you, miss," he said. He took out his tools and headed to her home. Inside, the heavy oak chest was a beautiful piece, a great ark of wood and brass. The woman's grandfather had been a collector of peculiar objects, and this was his final puzzle. As Alistair knelt to examine the lock, he noticed a small ad from a newspaper glued to the side. It was an advertisement for a local pub's famous homemade ale. Beside it, a hand-drawn picture of a small, broken heart. What ailed him? Alistair wondered aloud. The woman shook her head. "I don't know," she said. "He was heartbroken for years after my grandmother died. He rarely left the house." Alistair realized the ad was a clue, not a random decoration. He thought of his own wife, who had passed away many years ago, and understood the man's sorrow. The treasure wasn't a fortune, but a memory, something to be shared. He remembered a story the old man told him, how he used to visit the pub every night with his wife for a pint of ale. The broken heart was a symbol of his grief. "This is not just a lock," Alistair announced. "It's a metaphor. The treasure is the memory of his love for your grandmother. He wants you to open your heart to that memory." He went to a nearby church. "We need to alter the lock to a new key," he told the church altar caretaker. "I'm certain of it." The caretaker, a kind man, agreed. Back at the house, Alistair worked to change the tumblers, whispering, "I add a bit of love, a bit of sorrow, a bit of memory," as he worked. He carefully filed a new key, a perfect accessory to the new lock. He placed the key in the woman's outstretched arms. "This is for you," he said. "It's a secret key, so no one can be an accessory to the treasure's location." The woman inserted the key. With a click, the lid opened. Inside, there was no gold, no jewels. Only a small wooden box and a leather-bound book. She opened the book, and on the first page, her grandfather had written, "To my dear granddaughter, the greatest treasure I ever had was the love of your grandmother. This book contains all our memories. Read them aloud so her memory will fill the air once more." The woman wept with joy. She was allowed to keep the memories, and her grandfather's last gift was more valuable than any fortune. She had found his treasure, and his legacy of love had come full circle, like a perfect arc in the sky. Vocabulary notes. Heir. In the story, the word heir refers to a person who is legally entitled to the property or title of another person upon their death. The woman's grandfather was believed to be an heir to a lost fortune, meaning he would have inherited it. A similar word is inheritor. The female equivalent is heiress. Example, he was an heir to some lost fortune. Similar words, inheritor, successor. Ail. To ail is a verb that means to suffer from an illness or a problem. The grandfather's note asked what ailed him, referring to what was troubling or making him sick, both physically and emotionally. It's often used in questions like, "What ails you?" Example, "To open it you must know what ails me." Similar words, afflict, trouble, bother. Ark. An ark is a large, box-like chest or a vessel, often used for storage. The word is most famously associated with Noah's Ark, but in the story, it's used metaphorically to describe the grandfather's heavy chest as a great ark of wood and brass. Example, the heavy oak chest was a beautiful piece, a great ark of wood and brass. Similar words: chest, coffer, crate. Accessory. An accessory is a supplementary item, usually for decoration or to complete an outfit. In the story, the new key Alistair makes is described as a perfect accessory to the new lock, meaning it's a fitting or complementary item. It can also refer to something that is not essential but adds to the function or appearance of something else. Example, a perfect accessory to the new lock. Similar words: supplement, add-on, accompaniment. Altar. An altar is a table or raised platform used as a center for religious rituals or worship, typically in a church. In the story, Alistair goes to a church and speaks to a caretaker near the altar to get help with the lock. Example, he told the church altar caretaker. Similar words: shrine, sanctuary. Story written by Gemini Pro AI. Image created by Imagio AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, Drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
All right, welcome. Today, we've got a story for you that's, well, it's more than just a story. It's a puzzle. Imagine a mystery set on this foggy, forgotten island, where the clues aren't on some treasure map. Nope, they're hidden in plain sight, inside the words we speak every single day. Sounds cool, right? Let's get into it.
So every great mystery needs a starting point. And for this one, it all kicks off with a locked chest and a deep family secret. This is where we meet our key players and, the one thing at the very center of this whole puzzle.
So picture this. You've got this tiny, quiet locksmith shop on an island that's just constantly shrouded in mist. Our guy, an old expert locksmith named Alistair, gets a visitor. It's a woman, and you can just see the worry on her face. And she's not there for just a simple broken lock. No. The challenge she brings him is something else entirely.
Okay, so she lays it all out for him. Here are the pieces of the puzzle we're dealing with. First, there's this big, heavy oak chest. It's locked up tight, and guess what? The key is long gone. Then, there's the backstory about her grandfather, this mysterious guy who people whispered was the heir to some lost fortune. And the most important piece? A single, super cryptic note that he left behind.
Yeah, so right away, we know this isn't going to be about just finding a physical key. This is a quest to solve a riddle. That little note, it's the only clue they have for opening the chest. And believe me, it is a total head-scratcher. And there it is. To open it, you must know what ails me. Wow. I mean, what kind of clue is that? It's not about a combination or a hidden key. It's about figuring out what was wrong with him, what pained him. This totally changes the game, right? It goes from being a mechanical puzzle to something way more personal. So Alistair starts looking over the chest, and the story describes it as a great ark. Now, that's a really specific word choice, isn't it? It's not just a box or a chest. An ark. That suggests it's holding something incredibly precious, something that needs to be saved. Definitely hang on to that word ark, it's going to come back. And as he's looking, he spots something else. There are two things glued to the side of the chest that seem completely random. First, a little newspaper clipping, an ad for a pub's homemade ale, and second, a little hand-drawn picture of a broken heart. I mean, a beer ad and a sad drawing? How on earth could that lead to opening this thing? Okay, this is the moment things start to click. Our locksmith, Alistair, he starts to put on his detective hat. He gets this feeling, this hunch, that these clues aren't random at all. He thinks they're part of a really clever and probably very emotional code. And it all comes down to this one question. The ad for ale? How could a drink possibly be the key? The riddle asks what ails the grandfather, but the clue is ale. A-I-L versus A-L-E. Is that just a weird coincidence? Or is that the entire point of the puzzle? And boom, there it is, the breakthrough moment. Alistair totally gets it. The riddle uses the word ail, A-I-L, which means to suffer from something.
But the clue on the chest is ale, A-L-E, the drink. They sound exactly the same, but they mean totally different things. The grandfather was playing with words. And this is the secret code he was using. Homophones. You know, words that sound the same but have different meanings and spellings. The grandfather built his whole entire puzzle around them. He knew that to solve this, you couldn't just read the words on the page, you had to listen to how they sound. And what's so brilliant about this is how the story itself starts weaving in these homophones. It's not just the puzzle, it's the narrative. For instance, Alistair realizes he needs to alter the lock, A-L-T-E-R, to change it. And where does he go to do that? He goes to the church altar, A-L-T-A-R. See? The whole story is just dripping with these clever little word plays. So, okay, the code is cracked. Alistair knows what he's doing now, and he's ready to open this chest. But the treasure inside? It's not at all what anyone was expecting. This was never about a lost fortune in gold. It was a fortune of a whole different kind. You can just hear it, right? That slow, satisfying click as the tumblers finally fall into place. After all this time, all this mystery, the heavy oak lid finally creaks open. The puzzle is solved, but the real secret is still waiting inside. So they look inside, and there's no gold, no jewels. The rumor of a lost fortune? Totally just a story, a red herring. Instead, the granddaughter finds something so much more personal. Just a small wooden box and a single leather-bound book. And inside, a note reveals the heart of it all. It says, "To my dear granddaughter, the greatest treasure I ever had was the love of your grandmother. This book contains all our memories." It turns out what ailed him, what caused him so much pain, was his broken heart after his wife passed away. The treasure wasn't money. It was their love story, saved in this book, passed down as a true inheritance. Wow, what an incredible ending, right? The grandfather's puzzle wasn't just some clever game. It was built from the very words that defined his life and his love. So let's just take a quick look back at some of those key words that made his secret so special. Okay, first up, heir. The whole story kicked off with this rumor that the grandfather was an heir to a fortune. And in the end, that was kind of true, wasn't it? He wasn't the heir to gold or anything, but he made his granddaughter the heir to something way more valuable, his memories and his love story. Then we have ail. This was the absolute core of the puzzle. The riddle asked, what could ail him? What was his suffering? And the answer was hidden in its homophone, A-L-E. That clue pointed not just to a drink, but to all the happy memories he must have shared with his wife at that pub. Remember how the chest was called an ark, a vessel protecting something precious? Well, that's exactly what it was doing. And at the end of the story, his love came full arc, like a perfect circle, passed down to the next generation. It's just such a beautiful, hidden layer of wordplay, isn't it? Even a simple word like accessory gets a new meaning here. The new key Alistair made wasn't just a tool. It was the final, fitting piece, an accessory to the chest that didn't just unlock a lid, it unlocked a whole lifetime of memories. And finally, altar. The setting itself was a clue. Alistair went to the church altar, the sacred place, to get help to alter the lock. It just goes to show how every single detail in the grandfather's puzzle was put there for a reason, rewarding anyone who was willing to listen closely. And that really leaves us with a pretty cool thought, doesn't it? This story is a beautiful reminder that language it's so much more than just a way to talk. It can be a treasure chest all on its own, packed with hidden meanings, puzzles, and history. So it makes you wonder, what little secrets are hidden in the words you use every day, just waiting to be discovered?